Aloha and welcome to Mini Spirit Chat. Today I'm going to be talking about a really good subject, and that is warning versus fear. I've had some questions about this. How do you tell the difference between a warning and just your own fear? This is a really great question, and I have some pretty good indicators for you on how to tell the difference when you're developing your abilities. This can be something which can be quite confusing. So, they feel different and they affect different parts of the body. And that's going to be a pretty big indicator. So, for instance, when you experience a psychic warning or like an intuitive warning that you shouldn't be doing something, what happens is usually pretty immediately when you think of doing something, even before your thoughts have any time to form a thought process on it, you'll feel kind of a sick feeling and you'll feel very hesitant, usually sick, nauseous, and it will happen almost always in the gut or the tummy area. You you also won't know why necessarily. So it happens pretty quickly and you don't know why. You can't, there's not a thought process that makes this warning or this feeling or this hesitation. There's nothing that goes along to match it going, okay, well, if you take that job, then you might lose this amount of income or you might not be able to find another income. And then what if you're homeless and how are you going to pay your bills? That's a fear thought process. And when you have something that you're intuitively hitting on, which is a warning, it's not going to work like that. You're just going to have that feeling that it's not so good, usually in the tummy area, but you really are not going to be able to put your finger on it a lot of the times. You won't know why, or you won't be able to put your finger on it. It's not going to be a very specific example of why you're feeling that way. You may feel like, geez, that doesn't feel quite right. Timing wise, something feels off to you. That's a warning. You're going to have like something you can't put your finger on, but it's not feeling right. And like I said, it's usually pretty quickly to any scenario that you're getting a warning signal on or a warning intuitive hit or something. And I hate to use the word warning because that sounds like major crazy stuff's going to go down. But a don't go down that path type of feeling would be, again, it happens pretty quickly in usually the gut or tummy area, and you just can't quite put your finger on why. Now, if you're having a fear, warning versus a fear when you're working with your abilities, fear usually has a thought process that goes behind it. Just like I was told you before, if you switch the job, you may or may not find a new one. Then what if you end up homeless? There's like a whole usually thought process, and you can put your finger on the fear. Here's my ultimate fear. I'm worried that if I jump off this high dive, that I'm gonna hit the water and do a belly flop, and I'm gonna get hurt, Or if I go on this roller coaster ride, I'm afraid that I'm going to be scared the whole entire time, or I'm afraid that I'm going to feel nauseous when I get, like, you can put your finger on a fear. The other thing is usually it happens more in the chest area with a fear. Sometimes both can navigate, the warning stuff can navigate up towards the chest, and the chest stuff can go towards the tummy somewhat, but the primary areas is usually, fear is usually based in the chest or in the breathing area and the solar plexus area. That's where it navigates from. And there's usually some type of picture in your head that you have gotten from this fear. The other thing with a fear is it can be quite confusing from the simple fact of you usually, it might be, or not usually, sometimes it might be something that you actually wish to do, but fear's holding you back. And so sometimes you'll feel that drive to still want to do something, but then you have all these thoughts that come into your head of, oh my gosh, but this could happen and that could happen. So basically, when it comes down to it, besides feeling your gut versus your chest, can you put your finger on it, on your fear? If you can't, then you might want to steer clear and listen to your gut on that thing that you're wondering about. If you can put your finger on it as a fear, then most likely it's not a fear. And truthfully, again, I have done this for many, many years. More often than not, I would say 9 out of 10 times a worry, it's going to be a fear versus an intuitive warning or guide not to go down that path. People nowadays just struggle with a lot of fears. They're in their head a lot and manifesting different scenarios that usually don't happen anyways. So hopefully this was helpful on how to tell the difference between a warning and a fear. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And until next time, aloha.